is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Two. Hello. Two. Check two. Hello, folks. Making children say the Pledge of Allegiance is so fucked up the more you think about it. It's just one of those things that, like, when they do that in other countries, they're like, look at this sick. This is like a cult. This is like a sick cult. Disgusting. The way they indoctrinate children like that. Just shut up. We're doing the Pledge of Allegiance. They worship the Kim family. They treat them like gods. Guys, this is serious. Spider-Man has attacked Mount Sinai Hospital. It's true. And I was informed actually yesterday that I was pronouncing that incorrectly. Sinai. Very troubling development. The wall-crawling menace has attacked Mount Sinai Hospital. Is nothing sacred? Is nothing sacred? People are just trying to go about their lives, go about their jobs, and Spider-Man is climbing up on the side of the building and waving a flag for 5 minutes. This is terrible. This is what a terrible tragedy. What a terrible tragedy. That's funny, Lodane, because I do distinctly remember watching Jumping Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg, definitely. But you're right that I didn't see it enough. I definitely only saw it 1 or 2 times. In fact, I don't remember anything about that movie, but I remember she's like putting in a password on a computer, and she's got to figure out the password on the computer. That's the one thing that I remembered about that movie. I couldn't tell you anything about the plot or anything. Some kind of like fraud bank computer situation, and at one point she's got to guess a password, which may be the Jumping Jack Flash thing. At least they worship an actual human entity. A flag and freedom is just embarrassing. Yeah, and like a lot of the time in America as well, in American education, and in the world, they treat the founding fathers and like the Constitution like it's the word of God. Like they do treat it like a religious document. They got MFs tweeting like J. Jonah Jameson. No, it's true though. It's really true. I know we talked about this yesterday, but we like honestly, it's really crazy to me. It is really crazy to me. Like, look at this. I'm pretty sure I looked at this. I'm pretty sure we showed this yesterday, but it's just so shocking to me. Where is it? This is actually a really funny Twitter interaction that I had over this. Like, these people are deadly serious because I said a Palestine protest walking past a hospital is the latest dumb bullshit we're pretending to be mad about. Yada yada. And then this statue guy, Aristonkel comes in and says, interesting walking past occurring here, Rob. And it's a video of Spider-Man on the awning. Oh, interesting. Care to revise your statement, sir? I bet you feel pretty silly now. It's like, no, I think you should feel silly because you're the one showing a video of Spider-Man waving a flag as if it's some like terrible tragedy that happened. I think it's actually you that should feel silly about that. Roman statue PvP plus crypto, bro. But the thing is, Doc, not so strange. There's no separation between Aristonkel on Twitter and like Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh and our whole political establishment in this country. They all agree. This is a terrible, terrifying, threatening situation. They all agree. I did think this exchange, though, was really funny. Because I just said, oh no, not Spider-Man climbing an awning. I hope everyone was okay. And he says, oh, backpedaling when you're lying is exposed on video. And I just said, I'm sorry you were scared by Spider-Man. Like, what the hell? What the fuck is with these people? Spider-Man. By the way, I'm sure none of these statue avatar Jewish people had distorted, fucked up views about Jewish people prior to 4 months ago. By the way, let's not interrogate that at all. Wow, I didn't see this. In a leaked phone call, the parliamentary secretary to Canada's foreign affairs minister admits that the suspension of UNRWA was political and wrong, and admits that Israel is probably committing genocide. Oh, good. In a phone call with a constituent. It's crazy when they actually tell the truth. Oh shit, we accidentally told the truth on something. That's going to be a big problem for us politically. Little known fact, Spider-Man took part in the Kristallnacht. That's it. Yeah, no. This is where we're at in this fucking country. This is what we're doing in this goddamn fucking country. Oh, and also, what about this?
And you know, I love nothing more than, with
What about
all
this
of
guy?
that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity!
Man. You know, I know we just looked at that yesterday. I'm actually having a really bad day. Like I'm having I'm going to be honest with you here right now, Chad. I'm having a bad mental health day. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this stream because I just feel bad. Like I feel like my head is like underwater right now. Not like in a sickness way, and it's just like I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like lying down and just lying under a blanket all day. And I don't really have the option to do that. I gotta pick up my kid later, take care of him, bring him to his swimming class, make him dinner, put him to bed, do a whole podcast thing after. Like I got a big day full of stuff I gotta do. And so I just feel like shit today. I don't know. I just feel really bad. And just that instantly just cheers me up. Honestly, it really does. It instantly makes me smile and laugh to see this man saying fucking pronouns. It instantly elevates. It gets the serotonin going immediately. Immediately. It's like taking Vyance or something for me, just seeing that man. Fucking gender ambiguity. I already feel like 10% better just from that. I want to get immersed in our world. I know. He's like my Patch Adams. It's true. Like, just look at this guy. He's just delightful. What a silly little guy. Has anyone mixed this into a song or something? Like some kind of catchy pop song? Someone must have. I'm sure someone did. Very emotionally expressive. Is you can click at any time. And all the expressions are good. Like, every single part of the clip is like a that face when fucking pronouns. I just finished a game where I made friends with ancient sea people and helped them save their magic tree. It made me sick. Listen, as long as they're just boys and girls, that's all. That's all that matters. Have the aliens, have the mutant creatures, have the ancient sea people, whatever it is. Cyberpunk, science fiction, space opera, as long as just everybody is either a boy or a girl. That's all. Please. He's here to chew bubblegum and get mad about pronouns, and he's all out of bubblegum. I might just look at this guy, this clip every day now. He made a meme about his Starfield rant, and he's definitely not mad. Yeah. He's trying to own it. He's trying to own it. Sir, we all know that you were mad. We all know that you were genuine, that you were almost crying because of pronouns in the video game Starfield. We all saw you almost crying because of that. Travis Kelce was like, he was upset. He wanted to win because he's a winner. He's a champion. He wasn't almost crying because of pronouns in a video game. In fact, Travis Kelce, as a woke, vaxxed Brandon voter, he probably likes pronouns and thinks that they're good. It just you can click at any time. At any point in the video. It's magical. You can just click on any point and it's just funny no matter what it is. 42, they, them, hut, hike. Yeah. He's texting Taylor, my favorite pronoun is you. This is the original video. Staggeringly handsome chatter. This is the original video. I'm sure he is still getting mad about pronouns, but maybe knows now to dial it down a little bit. Space aliens 3,000 light years away from Earth must comply to 20th century gender norms. Is it like that would be the present day thing, you know? If like this fantastical future world was just basic like 1950s Americana, like that would be the breaking of the immersion. I wonder if you've seen that TNG episode where Riker falls in love with a non-binary alien. Yeah, and on the planet that's like trying to enforce a very strict gender hierarchy. Star Trek's woke now, though. I wonder if you've seen the one where Beverly Crusher has sex with a Scottish ghost. That's not related. I just wonder. Doesn't the ghost like take some kind of candle form? That's a weird episode. I don't know. It's just not for me. You know, if you like that one, maybe that one's just for someone from another crowd. It's weird because I saw the non-binary episode the other day, like during the summer. It was on. I was like in a hotel and I watched it on cable, and I thought it was pretty good. But maybe I need to re-examine it. I don't know. I just think it was like considering it was like 1991, I thought it was pretty amazing. The idea that this is some kind of new phenomenon or something like that. I think that's amazing. I think for 1991 or whenever that episode aired, it's like, it's pretty amazing considering there's this meme or this notion that these views or these ideas are some kind of recent modern phenomenon. It's a good effort, they tried, but also kind of cringe. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's pretty fair. Fucking pronouns. Gender ambiguity. Yeah, in many ways we have regressed. But I think it's amazing that people like that really do think that this is this new phenomenon. They present day us. It's this new phenomenon to talk about like LGBTQIA plus issues or like gender stuff. We talked about this yet. I don't have all the same conversations we were having yesterday about this, but like there's this long history in science fiction to talk about these issues. I find it really strange that people have really convinced themselves that this is this modern thing that started basically in like 2015. Which Trek series has been my favorite? Soy Prem, I'm always going to be a Next Generation person because that's the one that I grew up watching. I watched Next Generation like every night with my mom at like 7 p.m. when it was in syndication. I think maybe in terms of like quality, you could make an argument that DS9 is superior, has higher highs, but I just love Next Generation. I don't know. I love it. It's more episodic. And you know, like Next Generation just gets to a points sometimes that just are just like, so like the best of both worlds. The moment in Best of Both Worlds when Picard's there and he turns around and he's all been Borgified, that is fucked up. That's one of the most fucked up things that has ever been shown on TV. Like, it's insane. It goes so hard. The music and everything, I'm getting goosebumps just right now, just thinking about it. Every single time I watch it, I'm just like, God damn. Yeah, it's absolutely carrier wave. And then in the part 2, when they're like injecting that shit into him and like all the whatever remaining color drains from his face, and you see the single tear. Oh no! Fuck. And then followed by the family episode too, where Picard goes back to visit his brother. It's really great stuff because you're so used to Picard being like Picard, and he's so stoic, and he's always in full control of his emotions. And you see in that time how he's genuinely being like tested and struggling, and he sees his brother and like he's fucking just traumatized, and he has that big emotional breakdown at the end, and it's so upsetting. It's so upsetting. So that's my favorite. I do really like DS9, and in fact, I would probably like to rewatch some of the later seasons of DS9, which are excellent. But to me, nothing will ever replace TNG for me. I've been watching a little bit with my son as well. He really likes the holodeck episodes, my son. That's how I've been pilling him on Star Trek. A Fistful of Datas he really liked. He really likes Sherlock Holmes and like Victorian stuff. So I put Elementary My Dear Data, which he really liked as well. And then the sequel to that a few years later when Moriarty comes back and like tricks them all. Hey, Toilet Bowl Toots, thank you very much for 1337. Thank you, Valued community member Toilet Bowl Toots, thank you.
Which doesn't like my MasterCard, so I couldn't renew my sub, so here is a tip until I figure it out.
Valued community member, Toilet Bowl Toots. Yes, that's the very one, Lodane. The very one. I hear you at how amazing TNG is, but I'd like to offer a counterpoint. Quark. And listen, Quark is fucking great. And so is Rom. When do we pay Rob today? Really at any time. Anytime you want. Anytime you want to subscribe or tip or whatever it is. You don't need to... There doesn't need to be a specific time. It can be any time, literally. What's the episode where Data plays a hard-boiled detective? That because I think you might be getting confused, Old Dutch, because there's ones where Picard is a hard-boiled detective's... oh, man, I can't remember his name. Is it like Mason Dixie? Or what the fuck is his name? And there's ones where Data is Sherlock Holmes. Mason Dixon? Is that it? Hey, Fox on the wall, what's up? Dixon Hill? No, it's Dixon Hill. Dixon Hill. And there's one where they become Robin Hood as well. They do a Robin Hood episode, but that's not the holodeck, that's Q. Q turns them into Robin Hood characters. Maybe I should show that one to my son as well. Dixon Hill does sound like a drag king name. Wenmore famously says, I am not a merry man. I want to be more regular again? Yeah, well, I'm sorry to mess on, but that ship has sailed for all of us. I don't know if I've... She Clippy just instantly angry about the very mention of Q. Wipe that smug smirk off your face, Q, you son of a bitch. I don't think I've shown him a Q episode, but that might be good, though. That might be a good idea. He might be into that. Mr. Seven Sanity says Q epis are my faves. I'm a bit of a Q mark. I agree. He's annoying, definitely, but I like how he pisses off Picard. That's fun. When he says the one where he loses his powers and then he gets his powers back and he conjures the mariachi band and everything, and Picard's just always so sick of his shit. Picard's just like, I'm busy. I'm very busy. Please. When he shows up in bed with Picard on Risa. That's great. And Riker gives Picard the fertility statue to own him. Where my short stack gobbo is at. Oh no. Only sickos choose to be busy in a post-scarcity future. For sure. I would just be hanging out, just making stuff in the replicator, hanging out in the holodeck. I would not be doing any of that stressful shit. I like the illegal stealth phasing episode with Terry O'Quinn. Oh, that's good. That's good, yeah. The real-life holodeck would need a jizz drainage system. Well, I think they explored that a little bit in the Holo Suites on DS9. They kind of get into that a little bit. Getting top in the holodeck. I remember like 15 years ago, internet, there was a whole big like Star Trek rap song that was one of the punchlines. I leave the holodeck with a hollow dick. Next Generation was the best because it was truest to the vision of Starfleet, any communist utopian future. That's true. Like I really like that like Roddenberry vision, and the more it gets away from that, sometimes it just doesn't feel like Star Trek anymore. Like the Star Trek Into Darkness, the movie, which is just basically like a big like 9/11 false flag conspiracy bullshit thing. Even DS9 gets a lot into that with like the whole like Sector 7 or whatever it is. Like the whole point of Star Trek is like that's in the past. We've moved past that now. We don't have that shit anymore. Even though it's still good sci-fi. That's where I liked what I've seen of Strange New World. Because that really feels like classic Trek. Although I haven't seen much, I've only seen a few episodes of the first season. DS9 was amazing until the last season. I didn't love Ezri Dax. And I didn't really love when Gul Dukat goes like full evil. He gets like possessed by the Pa Wraiths or whatever. And goes full like villainous evil. Because he's so great prior to that. He's one of the all-time best like TV villains. And then he goes full like evil bad guy, and it's just not quite as cool. Yeah, it takes a dumb turn, I think. Still worth watching. I still really did enjoy DS9, even the ending, which is not as good. Rick Berman will answer for his crimes. Exactly. I think we got to gulag Rick Berman. The day one after the revolution, number one priority. We're putting Rick Berman in the gulag. He's like, this was like 30 years ago. I'm an old man. I'm not even doing this stuff anymore. It's like, I'm sorry, Rick. There's no statute of limitations here. We gotta do this. I'm sorry to say. Because of this 30-year-old TV series. How do you rank Babylon 5? I've actually never seen Babylon 5. I've never watched any Babylon 5 at all. Should have thought of that before, Ricky. By the way, I do have to mention that if you caught this last night, I did, thanks to our friend Risk Inverse, gave me a generous tip yesterday so I could buy a video game, which was very, very kind. And I purchased Helldivers 2 and played it on stream last night with our friends Dr. Awesome and Kijiji Genie and Doc Hollywood. 2 doctors in the squad there. And it's so great. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I really love it. Really looking forward to playing more of that. Yeah, Jay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the scammed out of 50K article. I was planning on talking about it. It's a really funny story that I would like to discuss a little bit. I think I watched Babylon 5 back when you would just pirate everything with torrents. I don't know where you can watch it now. I think you just answered your own question. Should we talk about that column? We might as well. Now that it came up. It's a crazy story. Did you see this, Lodane? Also, to save money, maybe you could skip breakfast guy. He just got fired. Sorry to hear that. Let's look at this. Did folks see this story? This is a story in The Cut. The day I put $50,000 in a shoebox and handed it to a stranger. I never thought I was the kind of person to fall for a scam. By Charlotte Cowles, The Cut's financial advice columnist. Okay, Lodane. I'm glad I can introduce you to this story. It's honestly a crazy story. It's not a joke column. Let's do a whole thing on this. How do you even do that? Well, let's get into it.
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Dan, hello. Dan Simpson. Thank you for the raid, my friend. Thank you, I appreciate it. You're just in time. You're just in time because I'm gonna. Not that I'm someone that should really be giving a lot of financial advice.
To talk you through all this.
I Dan Soy Jack.
Nace, thanks for 17 months tier 1. You're just in time, Dan. And Dan Raiders, and I hope the stream went well today. But you're just in time because I'm going to we're going to go over this article here. And I'm going to teach you how not to get scammed out of $50,000. I know we all have $50,000 lying around. Feels like easy advice. Don't put $50K in a box and hand it to a guy. I mean, that would be the number one thing for me before we even get into this story. This is why I'm not worried about this happening to me. If no matter what the scam was, no matter what they were telling me, if they were like, to get out of this, all you have to do is just take $50K and give it over. I'd be like, well, that's going to be a problem because I just don't have that. I don't even have close to that. Oh, right, my $50K that have squirreled away for emergencies. Yeah. Accounting advice yesterday and now financial advice. Rob's pivot to finance. It's true. I'm becoming a financial influencer. And like, again, this is why would you admit this as Dr. Maggot? Why would you admit it as the financial advice columnist? No, I would never tell anyone about this. I would not tell a soul about this. But let's read this. Let's read this story, okay? Let's read this story because it's a crazy story. And I think because I see there's like some scolding. It's already started like discourse, right? The whole crux of this article is like, I never thought that I was the kind of person that would fall for one of these scams. And it's like, and I talked to all kinds of people. It turns out all other people had been victims of these kind of scams before. And I can confidently say that no one could scam me out of this kind of money, or like, no, I don't even have that money, but any amount of money. My buddy sent a dick pic to someone online. He got an email from someone saying they were cops and the person was a minor and needed to pay investigation fees for them to clear it up. He gave them like $5K before he came to me about it. I think rule number 1, Bup Forte, not getting into any of the logistics of that anecdotal story. When like the cops or government agency says, you need to give us like X amount of money right now, call a fucking lawyer or just hang up the phone. That would be number 1. That would be my number 1 piece of advice. If there's like a government agency that's like, oh shit, because of this complicated, insane series of events, we need you to give us all your money right now and hand it over. And then we can make this go away. Number one, that's the number one sign that you should just hang up the phone. You need to give us gift cards to activate the investigation. That's right. Luckily, there's a way out of this, sir. Head on down to the local Target. No, not money. Head on down to Target or Amazon and pick up some gift cards and send those over. And we're going to make this go away. This whole problem. Okay, let's read this story. Because I'm seeing discourse saying like, no, people are saying like me, no, I would not fall for one of these scams. Yeah, if a cop asks you anything, Tom Hanks, if a cop says anything to you at all, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up Friday. That's number one. These scams suck and really target vulnerable people, especially the elderly, which is why it's so maddening a rich business advice person has zero common sense or knowledge about them and wrote a column without pointing out the red flags for their readers as if there isn't a red flag literally every other sentence. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't need to point out the red flags because anyone reads this and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And that's what I mean. I'm confidently saying I would not fall for one of these scams. But people are saying, no, you don't know what it's like. This could happen to anyone. And I'm still confidently saying, no, this would not happen to me. But let's read the article. Yeah, just the headline alone. Let's read the article and we can determine whether this is like a plausible thing that you think might happen to you. Okay? Maybe I can skip the whole thing. I don't need to read the entire thing, but here it is. Okay? I'm serious. Tell your parents, not your grandparents, even your young parents, if they tell you to buy gift cards, they're scamming you. This is not gift cards though. This is definitely a complex scam. But this is maybe even worse than gift cards because it's literally, here's the first paragraph. Let's read the first paragraph. On a Tuesday evening, this past October, I put $50,000 in cash in a shoebox, taped it shut as instructed, and carried it to the sidewalk in front of my apartment, my phone clasped to my ear. Don't let anyone hurt me, I told the man on the line, feeling pathetic. You won't be hurt, he answered. Just keep doing exactly as I say. 3 minutes later, a white Mercedes SUV pulled up to the curb. The back window will open, said the man on the phone. Do not look at the driver or talk to him. Put the box through the window, say thank you, and go back inside. Well, Timmy, that's the issue for me too. That's why it would not be a problem for me. Not only would I just not answer the phone because I just don't answer the fucking phone in the first place if it's not someone that I immediately know. I've got to reiterate throughout while we read this though that this person is the financial advice columnist. I just want to make sure we understand that, okay? My Purdue-trained engineer father believes magnets can encode water with information. I'm sorry, the generation who grew up sniffing leaded gas is a lost cause. This isn't a boomer, though. I don't think this is a boomer. This is like a younger person. The man on the phone knew my home address, my social security number, the names of my family members, and that my 2-year-old son was playing in our living room. He told me my home was being watched, my laptop had been hacked, and we were in imminent danger. I can help you, but only if you cooperate, he said. His first orders. I could not tell anyone about our conversation, not even my spouse, or talk to the police or a lawyer. Now I know this was all a scam, a cruel and violating one, but painfully obvious in retrospect. Yes, it was. Here's what I can't figure out. Why didn't I just hang up and call 911? Why didn't I text my husband or my brother, a lawyer, or my best friend, also a lawyer, or my parents, or many other people who would have helped me? Why did I hand over all that money, the contents of my savings account, strictly for emergencies, without a bigger fight? Great question. It's a great question, honestly. When I've told people this story, most of them say the same thing. You don't seem like the type of person this would happen to. What they mean is that I'm not senile or hysterical or a rube, but these stereotypes are actually false. Younger adults, Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X, are 34% more likely to report losing money to fraud compared with those over 60, according to a recent report from the Federal Trade Commission. Another study found that well-educated people or those with good jobs were just as vulnerable to scams as everyone else. I'm not a rube. It's something you famously say when you are absolutely a rube. Still, how could I have been such easy prey? Scam victims tend to be single, lonely, and economically insecure with low financial literacy. I am none of those things. I am closer to the opposite. I am a journalist who had a weekly column in the business section of the New York Times. I've written a personal finance column for this magazine for the past 7 years. I interview money experts all the time and take their advice seriously. I'm married and talk to my friends, family, and colleagues every day. And while this is harder to quantify, how do I even put it? I'm not someone who loses her head. My mother-in-law has described me as even-keeled. My own mom has called me maddeningly rational. I am listed as an emergency contact for several friends and their kids. I vote, floss, cook, and exercise. In other words, I'm not a person who panics under pressure and falls for a conspiracy involving drug smuggling, money laundering, and CIA officers at my door. Until suddenly, I was. How could I, an important person, be so stupid? It's impossible. Yeah, it's the smartest financial journalist. Getting a degree in finance has big rube energy. That's red flag number 1. Yeah. Yeah, and this is true, Cinnamon Challenge. People who fall for scams love to say that anyone can fall for a scam. Again, I'm going to reiterate that I'm extremely confident in saying that I would not fall for this scam or any kind of similar scam. I'm not the type to turn into a corn cob. I say, as I demonstrably turn into a corn cob. It can happen to anyone who's 100% cope. Listen, this story is insane, honestly. Let's continue. That morning, it was October 31st, I dressed my toddler in a pizza costume for Halloween and kissed him goodbye before school. I wrote some work emails. At about 12:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. The caller ID said it was Amazon. I answered. A polite woman with a vague accent. She mentions the accents all the time, too, which is another thing that, didn't pick up on. A polite woman with a vague accent told me she was calling from Amazon customer service to check some unusual activity on my account. The call was being recorded for quality assurance. Had I recently spent $8,000 on MacBooks and iPads? I had not. I checked my Amazon account. My order history showed diapers and groceries, no iPads. The woman, who said her name was Krista, told me the purchases had been made under my business account. I don't have a business account, I said. She said. Our system shows that you have 2. That number 1, it's like scam. You know, if you answered your phone when fucking Amazon's calling you in the first place, you look at your account. No, there's no such purchases. Our computer here is saying that you have 2 accounts. No, I don't. Goodbye. Phone down. Crisis averted. At every step of the way of this story is massive red flags. It's fucking incredible. Literally, the first rule of anything is to hang up, look up their number on their own website, and call them back only on that. Yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb as well. Krista and I concurred that I was the victim of identity theft, and she said she would flag the fraudulent accounts and freeze their activity. She provided me with a case ID number for future reference and recommended that I check my credit cards. I did, and everything looked normal. So what's the problem, lady? I thanked her for her help. Then Krista explained that Amazon had been having a lot of problems with identity theft and false accounts lately. It had become so pervasive that the company was working with a liaison at the Federal Trade Commission and was referring defrauded customers to him. Could she connect me? Sure, I said. Lady, come on. Why is the Amazon customer service department connecting you with the FTC? Krista transferred the call to a man who identified himself as Calvin Mitchell. He said he was an investigator with the FTC, gave me his badge number, and had me write down his direct phone line in case I needed to contact him again. He also told me our call was being recorded. He asked me to verify the spelling of my name, then he read me the last 4 digits of my social security number, my home address, and my date of birth to confirm that they were correct. The fact that he had my social security number threw me. I was getting nervous. And again, I don't have a ton of sympathy for this person, but I get that this is scary when a stranger has like personal information about you and your family. I have a small measure of sympathy because then it throws you into kind of a weird panic state, and maybe being extremely, extremely generous, you're kind of off balance then, and you become more susceptible to this kind of thing. I don't know. Again, it's being really generous. I feel like I would have hung up the phone 4 times prior to any of this happening. People need to Google themselves to see how much personal info about you is freely available on the internet, because it's wild. Yeah, and I imagine that. And we're all living on social media as well. All kinds of stuff, if someone is trying to fuck with you, that they can find out. And I understand that would be scary. And I've been through, not this, obviously, but like it's a fucked up feeling when you feel like people are like looking into you. This is what I was saying. She thought she was cool under pressure because she's never been under any pressure ever. That's probably part of it as well. If she had a real job, she would have said, I don't have time for this bullshit, and hung up. Just talk to my, like, okay, identity theft, that's a big problem. Talk to my lawyer. Goodbye. Well, and that's the same thing for me, Kev. I would not have answered the phone in the first place. That's number one. I'm cool under pressure. I wrote a bullshit column for a living. I know. Imagine answering the phone. It's unbelievable. I'm glad we're speaking, said Calvin. Your personal information is linked to a case that we've been working on for a while now, and it's quite serious. He told me that 22 bank accounts, 9 vehicles, and 4 properties were registered to my name. The bank accounts had wired more than $3 million overseas, mostly to Jamaica and Iraq. Did I know anything about this? No, I said. Did I know someone named Stella Suk-Yi Kwong? I don't think so, I said. He texted me a photo of her ID, which he claimed had been found in a car, rented under my name, that was abandoned on the southern border of Texas, with blood and drugs in the trunk. A home in New Mexico affiliated with the car rental had subsequently been raided, he added, and authorities found more drugs, cash, and bank statements registered to my name and social security number. He texted me a drug bust photo of bags of pills and money stacked on a table. He told me that there were warrants out for my arrest in Maryland and Texas, and that I was being charged with cyber crimes, money laundering, and drug trafficking. And again, talk to my lawyer, you know? Okay, that sounds really serious. I'm going to contact my lawyer then. You know? Talk to my fucking lawyer. This is what happens when you have hall monitor brain. And I think this is something that stuck out to me too. When you have this kind of faith in these institutions as well, and this like faith in authority, this belief in like authority figures, like this is part of the liberal mind, right? You have this unshakable faith in law and order in these institutions, and you immediately like, oh, someone's like like a serious law and order person is talking to me. I have to like listen to every single thing that they say. I would simply walk away at this point. Also, several points before this. Like, if that's true, even if that's true, it's like, okay, well, not much I can do right now. Like, I'm going to go talk to my lawyer. See you later. Talk to you later. That's true as well, King Window. Good point. She's a xenophobic living. You named Jamaica and Iraq, Chinese name, or Korean possibly. Mentioned Mexico and drugs and murders. And it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah, hall monitor brain. It's a good way of looking at it. My head swam. I Googled my name along with warrant and money laundering, but nothing came up. Were arrest warrants public? I wasn't sure. Google led me to truthfinder.com, which asked for my credit card information. Nope. She's trying to brag. No, I'm too smart for that. Not giving my credit card info to this website. Like, lady, come on. You're not, we don't think that you're slick now. I'm in deep shit. I texted my husband. My identity was stolen and it seems really bad. Calvin wanted to know if I knew anyone who might be the culprit or if I had any connections
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Financial journalists, when you try and explain materialism, fuck off. Financial journalists, when some guy named Calvin Amazon says she needs to give him $50,000. So true.
Joe, thank you for the 200 bits. Fuck. No, I said this is the first I'm hearing about any of this, and it's a lot to take in. He asked if I had ever used public or unsecured Wi-Fi. I don't know, maybe. I said I used the airport Wi-Fi recently. He said, that's unfortunate. It's how many of these breaches start. I was embarrassed like I'd left my fly unzipped. How could I have been so thoughtless? But also, didn't everyone use the airport Wi-Fi? Calvin told me to listen carefully. Here's another massive red flag. The first thing you must do is not tell anyone what's going on. Everyone around you is a suspect. I almost laughed. I told him I was quite sure that my husband, who works for an affordable housing nonprofit and makes meticulous spreadsheets for our childcare expenses, was not a secret drug smuggler. I believe you, but even so, your communications are probably under surveillance, Calvin said, but not this communication, obviously. You cannot talk to him about this. I quickly deleted the text messages I had sent my husband a few minutes earlier. These are sophisticated criminals with a lot of money at stake, he continued. You should assume you're in danger and being watched. You cannot take any chances. I felt suspended between two worlds, the one I knew and the one this man was describing. If I had nothing to do with any of these allegations, how much could they truly affect me? I thought of an old This American Life episode about a woman whose Social Security card was stolen. No matter how many times she closed her bank accounts and opened new ones, her identity thief kept draining them, destroying her credit and her sanity. It turned out to be her boyfriend. I remembered another story about a man who got stuck on a no-fly list after his personal information was used by a terrorist group. It dawned on me that being connected to major federal offenses, even falsely, could really fuck up my life. She immediately starts distrusting her husband. Come on, lady. Calvin wanted to know how much money I currently had in my bank accounts. I told him that I had two, checking and savings, with a combined balance of a little over $80,000. As a freelancer in a volatile industry, I keep a sizable emergency fund. Yeah, it sounds like you're really struggling. And I also set aside cash to pay my taxes at the end of the year, since they aren't withheld from my paychecks. Imagine being able to do that. Imagine being financially secure enough to do that. His voice took on a more urgent tone. You must have worked very hard to save all that money, he said. Do not share your bank account information with anyone. I'm going to help you keep your money safe. He said that he would transfer me to his colleague at the CIA, who is the lead investigator on my case, and gave me a 9-digit case number for my records. I Googled the number. Nothing. He said the CIA agent would tell me what to do next, and he wished me luck. If it was a scam, this sentence is amazing. If it was a scam, I couldn't see the angle. You really can't see the angle, lady? You really can't see the angle. You really can't. Okay. It had occurred to me that the whole story might be made up or an elaborate mistake, but no one had asked me for my money or told me to buy crypto. They'd only encouraged me not to share my banking information. They hadn't asked for my personal details. They already knew them. I hadn't been told to click on anything. Still, I had not seen a shred of evidence. The FTC to this, Doc Not So Strange, this is the Amazon customer service to FCC to CIA to RICO charges for money laundering. Why would a thief want to know how much money I have? I thought to myself. Oh my goodness. Still, I'd not seen a shred of evidence. I checked my bank account. I was not planning on reading this whole thing, but I think we have to just read the entire article now. I guess now it's just like, I know I can see you're all enthralled in this as I was this morning. So Still, I had not seen a shred of evidence. I checked my bank accounts, credit cards, and credit score. Nothing looked out of the ordinary, so just hang up the phone then. I knew I should probably talk to a lawyer or maybe call the police, though I was doubtful that they would help. What was I going to say? My identity was stolen, and I think I'm somehow in danger. I had no proof. I was also annoyed that my workday had been hijacked. It was 2 p.m., and I had already pushed back one deadline and postponed 2 work calls. I had to get myself out of this. The next man who got on the line had a deeper voice and a slight British accent flecked with something I couldn't identify. He told me his name, one of these classic British CIA agents. He told me his name was Michael Serrano and that he worked for the CIA on cases involving the FTC. He gave me his badge number. I'm going to need more than that, I said. Oh, she's being smart again. I'm going to need more than that, I said. I have no reason to believe that any of what you're saying is real. I completely understand, he said calmly. He told me to go to the FTC homepage and look up the main phone number. She's so close to here getting it. Baseball player last name. It's like one of those old Nintendo, like NES video games, like when they're just making up the sports guy names. I completely understand, he said calmly. He told me to go to the FTC homepage and look up the main phone number. Now hang up the phone and I will call you from that number right now. I did as he said. The FTC number flashed on my screen and I picked it up. How do I know you're not just spoofing this? I asked. Maybe, lady, you should call the number. Maybe that. Maybe you can just simply hang up the phone and call the person back on their number on the FTC website, and that would answer all your problems. How do I know you're not just spoofing this? I asked. It's a government number, he said, almost indignant. It cannot be spoofed. I wasn't sure if this was true and tried Googling it, but Michael was already on to his next point. He told me the call was being recorded, so I put him on speaker and began recording on my end too. He wanted to know if I had told anyone what was going on. I admitted that I had texted my husband. You must reassure him that everything is fine, Michael said. In many cases like this, we have to investigate the spouse as well, and the less he knows, the less he's implicated. From now on, you have to follow protocol if you want us to help you. This is funny because this is the Bill Paxton thing from True Lies. Now it's the Bill Paxton. Now you're in like a secret spy story. You know? We need to make sure we follow protocol on this. All of a sudden it's like, oh boy, this is exciting. This is so exciting. It is, you're absolutely right, St. Louis Hall Monitor Brain. I hope the scammers print this article out and frame it for their office wall. Bill Paxton, he's absolutely incredible in that. You're the main character now. You're the main character. It's us versus the bad identity thief. Exactly. Yeah. She's making up this spoofing part to seem less dumb. It never happened. She never heard of spoofing before this happened. I don't know. I don't know what I think there's a couple of places in this our piece where she's trying not to seem like a rube, definitely. I'm an agent now, right? Yeah. Yeah, she mentions that they're different, PM Trio. She mentions that the voices are different and also talks about their accents. She literally mentions this person having a British accent. It's a British CIA person. I have such a good chunk of Illuminatus trilogy to quote here, but long story short, if you say things like fire drill officially enough, you can get people to vacate their car at a red light. Yeah, like, again, I have a small measure of sympathy, especially when you've got a kid and you're all of a sudden you're worried about people having information about you, and it fucks you up, and then you have this appeal to authority thing. It's a very small amount of sympathy though, because I think there's about 6 times so far this is still not even half over. 6 times so far that I would have been like, no, thank you, goodbye. I don't think I should lie to my husband, I said, feeling stupid. You're being investigated for major federal crimes, he said. By keeping your husband out of this, you're protecting him. He then repeated the point Calvin had made about my phone and computer being hacked and monitored by the criminals who had stolen my identity. By that point, my husband had sent me a series of concerned texts. Don't worry, it will be okay, I wrote back. It felt gross to imagine a third party reading along. Michael snowed me with the same stories Calvin had. They were consistent. Yeah, of course, because they're fucking working together, lady. The car on the Texas border, the property in New Mexico, the drugs, the bank accounts. It's so hard to get property. Like, you have to go, and I don't even know because I don't own property. You have to go through this whole series of like, it's not easy. The idea that someone could just have all this property in your name and you would have no knowledge of it is fucking insane. And you're a financial advisor as well. He asked if I shared my residence with anyone besides my husband and son. Then he asked me more questions about my family members, including my parents, my brother, and my sister-in-law. He knew their names and where they lived. I told him they had nothing to do with this. In fact, I was now sure I wanted to consult a lawyer. Then fucking do it, lady. If you talk to an attorney, I cannot help you anymore, Michael said sternly. You will be considered non-cooperative. Your home will be raided and your assets will be seized. You may be arrested. It's your choice. This seemed ludicrous. I pictured officers tramping in, taking my laptop, going through our bookshelves, questioning our neighbors, scaring my son. It was a non-starter. Can I just come to your office and sort this out in person? I said. It's getting late and I need to take my son trick-or-treating soon. My office is in Langley, he said. We don't have enough time. We need to act immediately. I'm going to talk you through this process. It's going to sound crazy, but we must follow protocol if we're going to catch the people behind this. He explained that the CIA would need to freeze all the assets in my name, including my actual bank accounts. In the eyes of the law, there was no difference between the real and fraudulent ones, he said. They would also deactivate my compromised social security number and get me a new one. Then, by monitoring any activity under my old social security number and accounts, they would catch the criminals who were using my identity and I would get my life back. But until then, I would need to use only cash for my day-to-day expenses. It was far-fetched, ridiculous, but also not completely out of the realm of possibility. No, it is, though. No, it is. It is out of the realm of possibility. Like, let's be real here. It was, in fact, completely out of the realm of possibility. Do I have any other options? I asked. Unfortunately, no, he said. You must follow my directions very carefully. We do not have much time. He asked me how much cash I thought I would need to support myself for a year if necessary. My assets could be frozen for up to 2 years if the investigation dragged on, he added. There could be a trial. I might need to testify. These things take time. I don't know, 50,000, I said. I wondered how I'd receive paychecks without a bank account. Would I have to take time off from work? I did some mental calculations of how much my husband could float us and for how long. Okay, he said. You need to go to the bank and get that cash out now. You cannot tell them what it is for. In one of my last cases, the identity thief was someone who worked at the bank. Michael told me to keep the phone on speaker so we would remain in contact. It's important that I monitor where this money goes from now on. Remember, all of your assets are part of this investigation, he said. Then he told me that one of his colleagues would meet me at my apartment at 5 p.m. to guide me through the next steps. You can't send a complete stranger to my home, I said, my voice rising. My 2-year-old son will be here. Let me worry about that, he said. It's my job. If you don't cooperate, I cannot keep you safe. It's your choice. But, I mean, Pac-Man, that's the number one thing. Who just has 50K? This is the number one reason why I would not fall for this scam. If someone was like, in order to not go to jail, you need to take out 50K for the out of the bank right now, I'd just be like, well, that's not going to be possible. So it's jail for me, I guess. That's kind of what I would say. It's just that these guys aren't laughing their asses off at the fact that this is working. Seriously. It's impossible to explain why I accepted this logic, but I had been given marching orders and a deadline. My son would be home soon, and I had to fix this mess. I put on sneakers in case I needed to run. Now she's really caught up in that. She's really the main character now. I brought a backpack for the cash. I felt both terrified and absurd. It was jarring to see trick-or-treaters in my Brooklyn neighborhood, people going about their lives. The air was crisp, and dead leaves swirled on the ground. I was on high alert for anyone who might be following me. At one point, a man in sunglasses and a hoodie trailed me for a few blocks. At Michael's suggestion, I ducked into a parking garage until he passed. When I reached the bank, I told the guard I needed to make a large cash withdrawal, and she sent me upstairs. Michael was on speakerphone in my pocket. I asked the teller for $50,000. The woman behind the thick glass window raised her eyebrows, disappeared into a back room, came back with a large metal box of $100 bills, and counted them with the machine. Then she pushed the stacks of bills through the slot along with a sheet of paper, warning me against scams. I thanked her and left. Michael was bursting with praise. You did a great job, he said. He's feeding into her praise kink now. You did a great job, he said. I have to go for a moment to see about the details of your case. I'm going to have you speak to my colleague if you have any questions. Really, you just went into the other room just like... just like you had to just take a few moments just to be like, oh my God, this shit never works. He put a woman on the line. She was younger, with an accent I couldn't identify. She told me to go home and await further instructions. As I walked back to my apartment, something jolted me out of my trance, and I became furious. No government agency would establish this as, quote, protocol. It was preposterous. I need to speak with Michael, I told the woman on the phone. He got on right away. I don't even believe what you're a CIA agent, I said. What you're asking me to do is completely unreasonable. He sighed. I'm sending you a photo of my badge right now. It's like the McLovin. It's the McLovin badge. I don't know what else to tell you. You can trust me and I'll help you, or you can hang up and put yourself and your family in danger. Do you really want to take that risk with a young child? I waited for a stoplight at a busy intersection. I could see my apartment window from where I stood. My son was playing inside with a neighbor's daughter and their nanny. A picture of Michael's badge appeared on my phone. I had no way of verifying it. It could easily have been photoshopped. I don't trust you at all, I said to Michael. But it doesn't seem like I have any other choice. I mean, you do. You can literally just press the button on your phone to hang up and the whole thing will be over. You do have another choice. I broke out of my trance. Immediately runs back to get put in the trance. Michael Mike Hawk, Agent 42069. She lives in Brooklyn, Lodane. Yes, there's a local office you can visit. Yes. He could have just sent an image. He could have just Googled FBI badge and just sent that. For sure, this watches way too many crime dramas. This is like a cousin of the people that are obsessed with human trafficking. Because they see like a shopping cart near their car at Target or whatever, and they think that they're being marked for trafficking. You could go to the office and say, hello, I'm an idiot. Yeah, they can't say you're non-compliant if you want to do it in person. It's just it's so absurd at every step of the way. At every step of the way. When I got home, Michael told me to get a box, put the cash in it, take a picture of it, then tape it shut. I found a floral printed shoebox that I had once contained a pair of slippers I'd bought for myself. A frivolous purchase that now seemed mortifying. Michael told me to label it with my name, my case number, my address, a locker number he read to me, and my signature. Then he directed me to take another picture of the labeled box and text it to him. My colleague will be there soon. He's an undercover CIA agent, and he will secure the money for you, he said. What exactly would that entail? I asked. Tonight, we will close down your social security number, and you will lose access to your bank accounts, he explained. Tomorrow, you'll need to go to the Social Security office and get a new Social Security number. We'll secure this money for you in a government locker and hand deliver a treasury check for the same amount. You can cash the check and use it for your expenses until the investigation is over. So just give us this cash. We'll give you a check, and you turn that check into this exact same amount of cash. You know, no problem. It's simple. Why can't I just use this cash? I asked. Why do you have to take it and give me a check? Because all of your assets under your current identity are part of the investigation, he said. You're being charged with money laundering. If we secure this cash and then issue you a government check under your new Social Security number, that will be considered clean money. I'll need to see your colleague's badge, I said. I'm not just going to give $50,000 of my money to someone I don't know. Undercover agents don't carry badges, he said. As if I'd asked the CIA to bring me a Happy Meal. They're undercover. Remember, you're probably being watched. The criminals cannot know that a CIA agent is there. How is this person still employed as a journalist? She's still employed as a financial advice columnist. Your money will be stored on the blockchain in the form of an ape. In a twisted way, this made some amount of sense to me. Or maybe I had lost my grip on reality so completely that I was willing to resign myself to this new version of it. Most important, I didn't know what else to do. Just hang up the phone. Even if Michael wasn't working for the CIA, which struck me as more and more likely, he was sending a man to our address. I felt a sickening dread that he might ask to come inside. If giving him this money would make him go away, I was ready to do it. I'd been on the phone for nearly 5 hours. I wanted to take my son trick-or-treating. I was exhausted. Michael seemed to sense that I was flagging and asked if I'd had lunch. I hadn't. He told me to eat something, but keep him on the line. His agent was on the way to address something, but running late. You can meet him outside if that would make you more comfortable, Michael said, and I felt relieved. While I gnawed on a granola bar at my desk, he got chatty and asked about my job. I told him I was going to Washington, D.C. later that week. Oh, great, you could come to my office in Langley, he said. Where are you staying? He says, okay, for real, I got a Social Security scam call and I fell for it. That someone was doing fraud with my SSN, but it was a robocall that went to voicemail, so I immediately started to drive to the office, and on the way there, I swear to God, NPR did a story on an SSA robocall fraud, which I heard on the car radio, realized I'd been had. No fucking way I was doing this shit over the phone. Yeah, Lodane, like, I have utmost confidence, Lodane, that none of this would happen to you or anyone in this community, especially once you follow the advice that I'm giving you. I've gotten those calls too, like, oh, you're in serious trouble. And they try, and you know, there's a moment you're like, I've fucked up. I'm not bad. I'm not good with money. Did I forget to do something? And you have that feeling of like panic, but like, yeah, I just ignored it. Yeah. Like this is really common. I've definitely gotten these kind of robocalls before too. And then they try to get you on the line with someone. A little after 6 p.m., Michael told me to go downstairs. His colleague was arriving. My husband had just come home from... And this, I feel bad for this guy right now. My husband had just come home from work and was reading to our son. What's going on? Is everything okay? He asked as I put my coat on. I motioned to the phone and shushed him. Then I whispered, I have to go downstairs and meet a guy who's helping with the identity theft case. I'll explain more later. He frowned and slightly mouthed, what? I told him I had to go. I imagine this guy still has, it gets more into this later, but I imagine this guy still has like vivid nightmares of watching his wife walk out with the shoebox. I met the SUV at the curb and put the money in the back seat. It was 6:06 p.m. Even if I had tried to see who was driving, the windows were tinted and it was dusk. He maybe wore a baseball cap. When I turned around, I could see the backlit faces of my husband and son watching from our apartment 9 stories above. It is Bill Paxton in True Lies. That's what I was saying. As I walked back inside, Michael texted me a photo of a treasury check made out to me for $50,000 and told me a hard copy would be hand-delivered to me in the morning. He was working on setting up my appointment with the Social Security office. You will receive a confirmation text shortly, he said. Stay on the line until you do. I felt oddly comforted by this. An appointment would be giving me something legitimate, an actual connection to a government agency. There's something about, too, I saw people talking about this, the whole idea of like staying on the line. She's on the phone the whole time because they know, obviously, as soon as she hangs up the phone, then she's gone. But they keep her on the fucking line for like 6 hours while she goes to the bank and takes out $50K to put in a shoebox and give to them. The number is 696-969-696. So TV has warped people's minds and scam artists have figured this out. It really does feel like that. Like, honestly, like there's so many things like, oh, I'm part of this big, exciting situation. I took my son trick-or-treating, my phone and speaker in my pocket. I felt numb, almost in a fugue state, smiling and chatting with my neighbors and their kids. At one point, I checked to see if Michael was still there. His female colleague answered and said he'd be back soon. Then when we got home and I checked again, the line was dead. I panicked and called back. The woman answered. Michael's busy, she said. He'll call you in the morning. I was confused. Did this mean I didn't have a social security number at all anymore? I pictured myself floating, identityless. Do I have an appointment at the Social Security office? I asked. Michael will call you tomorrow, she repeated. He hasn't been able to secure your appointment yet. The Social Security office is closed now. Michael at the CIA just can't get through. Yeah, I know, it's crazy how the bureaucracy, you can't, even the CIA, they can't get through. I went into my bedroom and shut the door, feeling my face grow hot. I had a physical sensation of scales falling from my eyes. The room shimmered around me, spots raining from the ceiling. I saw the whole day peel away like the layers of an onion. Michael, the FTC officer, the Amazon call, revealing my real life, raw and exposed at the center. Oh my God, I said, my hands tingling. You're lying to me. Michael was lying. You just took my money and I'm never getting it back. That wasn't true, the woman said. She understood that I was upset. She was sorry. Everything would be fine. You're a fucking liar, I hissed, and hung up. The usual suspects. The usual suspects went, I think this might have been a bit of a scam. After, you really showed her. After placing the shoebox filled with cash into the car and going trick-or-treating with your son while still talking to these people, I think there might have been something. I think some of this might have not been above board here. You're a Weasley little liar, dude. Exactly. Through choking sobs, I told my husband what had happened. Why didn't you tell me? He asked, incredulous. I would have stopped you. That I'd been trying to protect him suddenly seemed so idiotic I couldn't even say it out loud. Our son looked on, confused. Mama's sad, he announced, clinging to my leg. We put him to bed and then I called my parents and my brother. At their urging, I called 911. Around 10:30 p.m., of course they show up like right away as soon as a well-to-do lady calls him about getting scammed. Around 10:30 p.m., 3 police officers came over and took my statement. I struggled to recount what I'd done. It seemed like a bad dream. I felt like a fool. No government agency will ever ask you for money, one cop informed me, as if I'd never heard it before. I wanted to scream, I know. Instead, I said, it didn't really feel like he was asking. The police told me not to worry. The scammers wouldn't be back. They got what they wanted, another officer said, as though it would reassure me. I gave them the photos and recordings I had. They promised to check traffic cameras for the car that had taken the money. When I woke up the next morning, a few seconds passed before I remembered the previous day. I was my old self in my old bed, milky drawn light on the walls. Then it all came crashing back, a fresh humiliation, and I curled into the fetal position. I felt violated, unreliable. I couldn't trust myself. Were my tendencies toward people-pleasing, rule-following, and conflict aversion far worse than I'd ever thought? Even pathological? Yeah, I think possibly that's me. That's maybe something you want to look at. I imagined other people's reactions. She's always been a little careless. She seems unhinged. I considered keeping the whole thing a secret. I worried it would harm my professional reputation. I still do. Yeah, no. As a financial advisor, I think that's a pretty legitimate fear, actually. The cops will get right on recovering those assets, ma'am. Yeah, they got us working in shifts. We just got a few detectives down from the crime lab. Leads. In the days that followed, I kept revisiting the fake world of that afternoon, slipping through a portal into an alternate life. I would get paranoid that someone was reading my texts, watching me as I took my son to school, or using my social security number to wire money and rent cars. It was a relief that I wasn't actually in trouble with the law, but then again, I'd lost $50,000 and I was not getting it back. I checked my accounts and credit cards obsessively. I called my bank. They gave me instructions to freeze my credit, file reports with the FBI and FTC, and run antivirus software on my laptop to check for malware, which I did. I cried a lot. My husband felt helpless. He still doesn't like to talk about it. Yeah, I understand that. Yes. We need to find a middle ground between the TikTok true crime women who make binders of hair samples and known enemies and this. No, seriously, it's like I was saying before, it's like a cousin. It's a cousin of that phenomenon. Don't worry about that, Diego. I wouldn't worry about that at all. In the day, my husband felt helpless. He still doesn't like to talk about it. Instead, I researched new locks for our doors and looked into security cameras. One night, I shook him awake, convinced that someone was trying to break in. It's only the wind, he said. We're safe. Again, I feel a small measure of sympathy for this person because this is a very fucked up thing to have happen to you. It's a small measure of sympathy because there's so many off-ramps. Like, how many off-ramps are there to get out of this situation? $50,000 is a lot of money. It took me years to save, stashing away a few thousand every time I got paid for a big project. Part of it was money I had received from my grandfather, an inheritance he took great pains to set up for his grandchildren before his death. Sometimes I imagine how I would have spent it if I had to get rid of it in a day. I could have paid for over a year's worth of childcare up front. I could have put it toward the master's degree I've always wanted. I could have housed multiple families for months. Perhaps inadvertently I am. Occasionally I wonder what the scammers did with it. Because I had it set aside for emergencies and taxes, it was money I tried to pretend I didn't have. It wasn't for spending. Initially, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to afford my taxes this year, but then my accountant told me I could write off losses due to theft. So from a financial standpoint, I'll survive as long as I don't have another emergency, a real one, anytime soon. When I did tell friends what had happened, it seemed like everyone had a horror story. And again, this is a tell here as well. One friend's dad, a criminal defense attorney, had been scammed out of $1.2 million. Another person I know, a real estate developer, was duped into wiring $450,000 to someone posing as one of his contractors. Someone else knew a Wall Street executive who had been conned into draining her 401k by some guy she met at a bar. This is a tell again. This is to all these friends. These friends that get scammed out of $1.2 million, like that have $1.2 million to get scammed out of. I felt a guilty sense of consolation whenever I heard about a scam involving someone I respected. If this could happen to them, maybe it wasn't such a moron. As a journalist, it's my instinct to research and talk to experts, so I dove into books and podcasts about scams, desperate to make sense of my own. I had known that fraud was on the rise and was shocked to learn that the financial losses ballooned by more than 30% in 2022. I read that self-laceration is typical. Half of victims blame themselves for being gullible, and I think that's fair. Most experience serious anxiety, depression, or other stress-related health problems afterwards. I heard about victim support groups. I went to therapy. When I discovered that Katie Gatti Tassin, a personal finance expert who writes the popular Money with Katie newsletter, lost $8,000 5 years ago to a grandmotherly-sounding woman pretending to call from Tassin's credit union, I called her to ask how she'd coped. Everyone was so patronizing, she told me. The response was basically, "It's your fault this has happened." These are all the financial advisors in the world. This is like what they're doing. The response was basically, "It's your fault this happened." And yes, I'm sorry, but it was. If I had to pinpoint a moment that made me think my scammers were legitimate, it was probably when they read me my social security number. Now I know that all kinds of personal information, your email address, your kids' names and birthdays, even your pets' names are commonly sold on the dark web. Of course, the scammers could also have learned about my son from a 30-second perusal of my Instagram feed. It was my brother, the lawyer, who pointed out what I had experienced sounded a lot like a coerced confession. I had read enough transcripts of bad interrogations in law school to understand that anyone can be convinced that they have a very narrow set of terrible options, he said. When I posed this theory to Saul Cassin, a psychology professor at John Kay College of Criminal Justice, who studies coerced confessions, he agreed. If someone is trying to get you to be compliant, they do it incrementally, in a series of small steps that take you further and further from what you know to be true. He said, it's not about breaking the will. They were altering the sense of reality. And when you haven't done anything wrong, the risk of cooperating feels minimal, he added. An innocent person thinks everything will get sorted out. It also mattered that I was kept on the phone for so long. People start to break down cognitively after a few hours of interrogation. At that point, they're not thinking straight. They feel the need to put an end to the situation at all costs, which you can also do just by hanging up the phone. This Mark gave someone $50K in a box, and she's fucking Patty Hearst.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
This is the IRS. I require $5,000 in Amazon gift cards, otherwise you're going to jail.
Thank you, Venus, for the 28 months of Prime. Thank you, Venus. I wondered how often scammers are caught and about the guy who driven the car to my apartment, but when I asked experts, they doubted he'd be a meaningful lead. One pointed out that he might have just been a courier who was told to come pick up a box. I still don't believe that what happened to me could happen to anyone, but I'm starting to realize that I'm not uniquely valuable. Debatable. Several friends felt strongly that if the scammers hadn't mentioned my son, I would have never fallen for this. They're right that I'd be willing to do or pay anything to protect him. Either way, I have to accept that someone waged psychological warfare on me, and I lost. For now, I just don't answer my phone. That's the story. That's the story. I will post it there in the chat if you want to share it or read it with anyone. You have to stay on stream until you send the gift cards. Yeah, well, that's the same thing with me. I just never answer the phone to begin with. Rob, you talk about American politics, and now you have to pay taxes to the IRS. Deposit $5K before we proceed with legal action. Well, again, easy solution. I do not have it. So I guess I'm just going to be arrested. Anyways, I saw a few people online kind of doing a bit of scolding people that were making fun of this, being like, this could happen to anyone. Now, I'm asking you, chat. We read this whole article. We went through this whole saga. Do you think at any point, does any of you think that this could happen to you?
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
All these suckers out here falling for obvious scams. What a joke. Now, let me sign up again for the friendship triangle.
You can count on me.
Norm,
have
thank you
good
for the
old
18
Rob
months of
to
Prime.
talk you through all this.
And thank you, Diego, as well, for the gifted sub. Lodan says it could not happen to me. Yeah, and Lodan, like, even when you got a little bit alarmed by that phone call, you had an instinct to go talk to a human being about it, which would have instantly sort of, if you had made it to the office, they would have been like, no, it's a scam. And you would have been like, oh, of course it is. And that would have been fine, you know? The thing is, folks, when you subscribe to this channel, though, you actually do get something back. You're not just throwing money into a well. You're not just taking money in a shoebox and putting it in a car. You get something out of it. You get entertainment. You get community. You get friendship. Okay? There's all kinds of benefits. You get tiny little images. Right? All kinds of real tangible things for $5. Oh, I'm sorry. For $5, you get all these real tangible things that improve your life. I get texts and emails like everyone else is. These scammers and hackers are working like legit orgs. There's all sorts of scams like job hiring scams where the scammers pose as recruiters trying to get information from job seekers. I get a lot of those messages on like WhatsApp and stuff as well. It's crazy how this whole communication platform has just been completely compromised. Like that's why I don't answer the phone anymore, because it's all just scams and marketers and like bullshit. Like this entire, what should be an important communications network has just been totally given over to these people. I wonder if they have the scammer problems in China. I'm sure they do. And when people that are involved in that get caught, really terrible things happen to them. Can I pay via shoebox? Just take your $5 and put it in a shoe. I'm going to put it in an envelope, tape that shut. I'll give you a case number. I'm going to send you a P.O. box. I'm going to send you a P.O. box you can send it to. I'm going to mail you back a physical card verifying your membership in this community.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Staggeringly handsome sub baby.
Staggeringly handsome chatter. Thanks for the 9 months. Tier 1's a stream baby. The amount ship internationally. In the envelope that I'm going to send you, you're going to get a TRRS membership card. And you're going to get all the tiny little images, little tiny pictures you can just take out and in your everyday life. You can use them whatever you want. There should be a card. I actually kind of like this idea, honestly. If I had time to do something like this, I think it would be a good idea. Just send you all envelopes with a little membership card and a bunch of tiny little images of like Donald Sutherland.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Plunger Man, thank you so much for 5 gifted subs, an elite member of the Friendship Triangle system. And I think it's amazing in this community that we can talk about how none of us are susceptible to this kind of bullshit. Scammers and schemes and all that kind of stuff. You know? I'm glad we can all agree that none of us are susceptible to any of that bullshit. Thank you once again to elite community member Plunger Man for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Hello, this is Officer Joseph Wunkler from CSIS. Your name came up in relation to a masked figure wearing spider insignia sighted waving a flag.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh, thank you,
You can count
Joe.
on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Joe, for the 200 friend coin. You got to buy the dip on that friend coin. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, DJ Tom Hanks, for the gifted sub. And thank you, Anon, for a gifted sub as well. Very kind of you. Fuck. Yeah, anyone that says now, right now. We don't have time, ma'am. What's her name? Charlotte. Charlotte, we don't have time for this. We need the 50K right now if you want this to go away. You may be immune to propaganda, but I'm built different. Good. May not be, yeah. I almost fell for a scam but took a deep breath and thought about it. Well, that's the whole thing about this story. The amazing thing about this story is that it all would have just gone away. All she had to do is press the little end call button on her phone. She had 6 hours. All she had to do with that one thing. And it all would have just gone away. Do you not understand what undercover means, ma'am? You think he has a badge? Charlotte, please. I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to help you. Let's get real here. It's time to grow up, Charlotte. An entire nation conditioned by orange terror alerts, ticking time bomb snares, and countless seasons of 24. Yeah. A lot of it is the Bill Paxton thing from True Lies. That's the amazing thing.
Have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Appearances can be deceptive, Osborne Cox. Are you worried about the security of your shit? And Osborne Cox handled that well, actually.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Diego, thank you for another gifted sub. And thank you, Lodane, for 100 bits. They have a different lineup of emotes available for the hype train. They're actually old ones from previous events. Here I'm spending bits to get them. Fuck you, capitalism. I love tiny images. Right now, for me, I don't know what it seems like for you, but it seems hung up on level 2. It doesn't even seem to be changing. I don't know if I'm only seeing that or if everyone else is.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
The day I put 250 bits in chat window and sent it to a Canadian.
Cannot imagine shushing my spouse while walking out of the house with a shoebox filled with 50K in cash. It's really, like, for all, as much as we're laughing about it, it is an amazing story. Like, it's very entertaining. It's a Canadian friendship scam, and it's not even a scam, okay, St. Louis, because the friendship is real. I know we like to joke around on here. The friendship is real. We got 1 minute to go, folks. And remember, there's tangible benefits to joining this community. And if you're not familiar with the community,
thank you for expressing interest
let's
in
just
the
take a look at this
Friendship
little
Triangle
video.
community.
1 more minute
We would
left
be
to
thrilled
subscribe
to have
get
you
even
on
more
board
tiny
as a
little
member of our
images.
exclusive platform. As you may know, the Friendship Triangle is Twitch's only two-dimensional, triangle-shaped, friendship access and
If you have any other
trickle-down
takers
cloud
want to support
tiered
this
reward
channel and this
system.
community,
Today
we don't
you
have
an
time,
amazing
chat.
opportunity
There's
to
30
join the
seconds
base
left.
level of
We
the
don't have a lot of
Friendship
time
Triangle
here.
system.
I'm
Once
trying
you
to
are
help
part of the
you.
community, you'll have the
Do you want me
ability
to
to
help you or
rise through
not?
the
I
ranks
can't
and achieve
guarantee your
higher
safety.
levels of
Good old
access
Rob
and
to,
rewards.
talk you through all
One
this.
way to do
I
this
can't
is by
guarantee
gifting
your safety if you
subscriptions
don't
to your
donate
fellow
right now.
members or by inviting your friends and family members to join our community. As you ascend the tiers, you will be exposed to a range of new and exciting benefits, such as exclusive
trying to help
content,
you.
advanced features, and access to our elite community members. We are confident that you will enjoy all the perks that come with being part of the Friendship Triangle. However, we also want to remind you that not all friends and family members are to be trusted, especially those who may not support your new lifestyle.
This is important, this part
That's
as well.
why
Don't,
we
if your
encourage you
family
to
asks you
focus
about
on
this, don't
building
listen to
meaningful
them.
relationships within our community,
talk to them
where
about
you
it.
will find like-minded individuals who share your interests and values. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We are always here to support our members and ensure that your experience with the Friendship Triangle is enjoyable.
Definitely don't text your
We're
spouse
glad
about
that
this.
you are considering joining the Friendship
Do
Triangle
not text your spouse
community.
about anything that we've
We
discussed
look
today.
forward to seeing you rise through the Chaos Zone and all the way into the Elite tier. It's not a cult.
If your husband asks what's in the box, I'm dealing with it, okay? I'm dealing with it. I can't talk to you about it. I'm on a secret mission. Would a scammer use Vaporwave? That's a great question. My bank emailed me and froze my account because I tried to gift 1 million gift subs. Another more toxic people. Toxic people you got to cut out of your life. Not now. I gotta get past the chaos zone, honey. Oh God. Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. It's like I saw people being kind of scoldy about this piece, being like, no, this could really happen to anyone, and I just really do not think that it could. I really, really do not think that it could happen to anybody. Do you care about our son? They could have snipers targeting us right now. This is the husband after she returned from delivering the box. I don't know what I'm looking at here. You better not be rickrolling me. I'm going to fall victim to a scam myself.
Put the gun down.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box? Not till you...
Oh, John, the Amazon scammers have the upper hand. Oh, that's bleep Lord. That's brutal. That's really bad shit. That scene. God damn. Michael Amazon has the upper hand. Oh, fuck. This is my favorite line from the movie. I mean, it's really the moment when you as the viewer is just like, oh, fuck. That's when it starts to clue in. Ray Romano, CIA, British accent. Yeah, what of it? Charlotte, it's a bit racist to imagine that a British person can't be a CIA agent working with the FTC, yeah? And Amazon customer service. Working on your possible money laundering case, innit? You believe in British people. That's the big conspiracy that I believe in. The ultimate cryptids. Oh. The Amazon is systemically so important now. They probably do have a CIA department. For sure, yeah. Like they're probably doing like providing AWS like for the actual CIA. Dick Penderyn, you're Welsh. That doesn't count. The Welsh are a proud and noble people. Unlike those disgusting Brits. Anyway. I feel very confident in saying that I would not fall for one of these scams. I don't think I'm being reductive in saying that I do not think that I would fall for this at any time. You couldn't get me to give $500 to someone. Seriously. Like whether I'm going to jail or not, whether I'm being accused of money laundering or not, like I fucking need that $500. No, you cannot have it. Yeah, and again, this Cat Tenbark seems nice. I spoke to her on the phone a few weeks ago when the whole like Elon Twitter thing happened. She seems very nice. But she says, everyone who reads this thinks they would never fall for a scam like this. But the truth is, you would. You just have no idea how you'll react when your emotions are being toyed with to this level. Everyone is capable of being abused, manipulated, and scammed. I just really don't. You know? I really don't. I really do not think that I would fall for this scam. I feel very confident in saying that. And that's true, Doc. That's a good point, Dr. Awesome. If scams didn't work, there would be no scammers. That's true. Oh, shit. Wow. Okay. This does kind of change things. Hey, Rylan. That is true, but that's it. I just don't have the money. I don't have that money lying around. So no, I would not be scammed out of 50K. I couldn't give money that I do not have in the first place. And I just don't answer the phone. And just at any time, you got taken in by OpenAI, but I'm not giving OpenAI money though. I think the technology is pretty impressive. I talk to my ChatGPT on this stream sometimes for a segment. At no point have I been like, I need to empty my bank accounts for these people. Just all my personal information. Folks, you think it's just the OpenAI that has our personal information? That's one reason I'm not worried about that. My personal information is out there. Google's got all of my personal information. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like there's all our shit is out there already. It's not just OpenAI. And that's a widespread problem just on the internet. My ChatGPT history overwhelmingly shows I hate being apologized to by a computer, and I will argue with a brick wall. Again, I literally sit here on Twitch and broadcast all my personal beliefs and political thoughts every single day of my life. Like, no, I'm not really worried about ChatGPT having information about me. My information is out there. I've been writing down every single little thought that I have and turning it into content now for like 15 years of my life. ChatGPT is the least of my problems. Anyway, this new evidence came in. This does complicate things a little bit. Look at this. Some of the information, some of the evidence came in. You see the quality of the scam. Look at that. Michael Amazon. There's the badge. Anyone could have fallen for this. Any one of us could have fallen for this. Do you know what I mean though? Like when it comes to like OpenAI and that stuff, because when I did those segments, I see people saying, you're giving all your information. You're giving all your information, but it's like my shit is out there. All my information is out there for anybody that wants to use that, for good or ill, and mostly ill. I don't think it's good at all, but nevertheless, it's out there. OpenAI probably has way less information about me than most other social media platforms. Let me just finish my apple here. Sorry for the masticating. Yeah, I did go on East Asia podcast. Did that just come out? Oh, cool. Yeah, it was a great conversation. Love talking to Seema. Google and Meta and their advertising lackeys have all that info and so much more. Use Facebook or Gmail for anything. No, this is why I'm not concerned. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should be concerned. That's why I'm not concerned about OpenAI, about having a little conversation with ChatGPT, about my information getting out there. When I've spent the last 4 years of my life for like 3 hours a day on this platform talking about every single little thought that I have. But also, I don't have main character syndrome. I just don't think I'm all that important. It is crazy to think about like how these scams are going to evolve. Like once you can already clone someone's voice. If you have enough like information and data, you can clone someone's voice and have an AI, a very realistic seeming AI, use another person's voice to call people. So imagine those scams then, when it's not Joe FBI calling you on the phone, but it's like your son or whatever. You're like an elderly lady and it's your son calling, Mom, I'm in trouble. I need $50K. And it's your son's voice. You know, that's if that's not happening already, it's going to be happening very, very soon. My kids do not call, they text. Well, that's true, Rylan. That's when you do the fake dog name trick. That's good. I think we've got to like really educate people on that. What's wrong with Wolfie? That one CFO got scammed out of $25 million by AI recently. Can't say I feel too much sympathy there. Yeah, that's what we were saying, Sean. That whole communications network has just been totally compromised. That's why I just don't answer the fucking phone. Too late to have the password convo with my family because they might already be replaced and I have no way to check. And that is a predicament. No, I did get those. I got those job recruitment messages because I got one on WhatsApp and I had never seen that before. And I was just like, what is this? What work are you talking about? And then I started getting it all the time. And then it's like, oh, can you follow up? My colleague contacted you. Can you follow up about this? And then like another one, where does it work? And now I get those like pretty often. But it's like, as soon as that second one came through, it's like, okay, I see what's going on here. Yeah, I started getting someone. Started getting someone who was like, "What the devil? Who on earth would be trying to employ me?" Seriously, that's red flag number one. At one of my past jobs, we'd have people show up on Mondays with a brand new laptop they bought to start new jobs, and they were scanned. Wow, that's crazy. Like people are pointing out, like I think we can and should laugh at that piece because it's so insane. But like we were saying, like this, it is if people didn't fall for it, these things wouldn't exist. I mean, the whole fucking economy is a scam. That's the funny thing is like everything. There's very little. There's a paper thin difference between these kinds of scams and like the stock market. The whole stock market is a scam. It's all based entirely on vibes and like fraud and theft. Like all like the Wolf of Wall Street shit or the Boiler Room, that stuff. I saw actually an interesting tweet about this showing stock market stuff from Japan, which just entered a recession, and the stock market's going like this, and China, who is having big GDP growth, but their stock market's going like that. And like the way that the stock market is actually not in any way an indicator of like economic health. Like we get into this with like the Biden stuff and all the liberal people being like, the economy's great. What are you talking about? Look at the lines. The lines are clearly going up. Don't worry about all the people saying like, I don't know how to live. Like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't have health insurance. I can't afford to live anywhere. Don't worry about that. The line clearly shows that it's going up. Those people are wrong to think that. I work in accounting, and there's like one guy in the office that will message me with, should I be expecting a payment from you soon? I got an email about money that payroll owes me from real sounding email at sketchylink.com. Yeah, or all the kind of shit. And it's amazing the things that people are like susceptible to, like the whole Hillary emails thing. Remember that? The most powerful people in the Democratic Party, the chief of staff for the most like one of the most powerful political parties in the world, was like, sure, I'll give you my password. Fell for some bullshit phishing scam that literally altered the course of American history. John Podesta, yeah. That's an amazing story as well. And all those emails were results of just a bullshit phishing scam that someone at the highest levels of the U.S. government fell for, like a big dumbass. Stock buybacks are manipulation, making your company look better without actually doing anything. Yeah, and like we've talked about this whole thing with like, we were offering so many jobs and no one wants to work them, which is all a scam as well. They're all offering jobs that they can't actually fill, so they can pass themselves off as being like healthier than they actually are, while blaming laziness for the reasons that they can't fill these positions. If you called Biden and told him he dropped his wallet in an ice cream store and he needed to give you the nuclear codes to return it, he would absolutely fall for it. I think I should talk to Jill about this. No, Mr. President, sir, there's no time. There's no time. I need those nuclear codes if you want your wallet back. I'm the official government wallet inspector, President Biden, sir. We need those nuclear codes right now. There's no time. Do not tell Jill Biden about this. She could be implicated. It was very funny how much of that piece was the Bill Paxton from True Lies thing. It was simultaneously, yeah, like it really was psychological warfare. Like that's what I mean when I feel like a little bit bad for the person. I think it's really dumb to get scammed on that, but like it's like, oh, you're going to be arrested tomorrow, but also you're helping us in this investigation against these dangerous criminals, you know? And you're going back and forth. Are you a criminal or are you helping us just get the real criminals? And she's going back and forth. And then he's praising her for doing such a good job and saying, you need to eat something. And then like, you could be arrested. You could be arrested tomorrow. going back and forth between these like big, wildly varying kind of psychological extremes. If you hurry President Biden, we'll give you a free scoop of ice cream. Yeah, exactly. It's part of the tactic of scamming. Do you know a corn pop, Mr. President? He's bought several properties with your wallet. Yeah, like again, if someone told me someone was buying properties using my identity, it's like I can't even walk into a bank and get a property. You're telling me someone used my identity to get approved for a property? I do not believe you. Can I come visit maybe? Like that sounds kind of nice. Yeah, pay us right now or we will arrest you is definitely standard federal law enforcement agency practice. And again, like some people, I get how you can be susceptible to this, but maybe if you're a financial advice columnist, maybe at that point you should be above that, you know? That's the key. It's who it happened to. Exactly. Like I'm very sympathetic to like older people that are alone. They're like alone and they're lonely and they just want someone to talk to. But when Special Agent Joe Amazon is saying, "Do not talk to your husband. Get the shoebox full of money," and you're just like, "Yes, sir," then not so much. Well, folks, I think this is all we're doing today. I'm going to go soon. Because I got to leave in about half an hour to pick up my kid from school. Yes, sir. Patriotically. That's right. Yes, sir. If anyone else does want to subscribe to this program, like, again, folks, we joke around about, is it a pyramid scheme? Is it a cult? Is it a scam? We do this little joke, okay? However, it is genuinely work for me to put on this program, which many of you seem to enjoy. Well, not that many, but some. Dozens of people.
You've just become an
seem
elite
to
member
enjoy
of the Friendship Triangle.
Regime Pilled, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Regime Pilled. It is hard work for me to put on this show, and it is the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show each and every day, is if people subscribe and make the little number go up. We can joke around about pyramid, triangle, tiered reward systems, whatever it is. It's a fun bit. It's a fun gag, but I do genuinely work hard on putting on this show, and if you can, please subscribe, because that's the only way that I can continue doing this each and every day. Is if people subscribe, like our wonderful friend Regime Pilled, who just became an elite community member. An elite member of the Friendship Triangle. It's a very real thing.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Multi-single plane triangle tiers. I mean, that's the whole genesis of that joke, right? Is making fun of this exact concept and about how pervasive this kind of thing is in our society. Thank you, Red Mais, for the gifted sub as well. And thanks, JNKD, for gifting a sub. Thank you for that. We're only 14 subs away from hitting the goal. Only 14 measly minor subs away from hitting the goal, folks. You don't even know how much of an elite community member you're going to be. Here, I'm going to let you in a little secret, folks, okay? I'm going to let you in a little secret. If you If you take out $50,000, I'm looking around because people don't want to know about this. Okay, only certain really privileged individuals know about this. If you take out $50,000 from the bank account and you put it in a shoebox, you contact me. I'm going to give you a P.O. box to send it to. Okay? I'm going to give you a P.O. box to send it to. And when you do this and you take a picture of it and verify that you've sent it to me, you will ascend to a special secret tier of the Friendship Triangle system that I haven't even been able to talk about yet. And I can't even talk about the benefits of that or what that's going to mean. You will ascend to a special ultra top secret tier, the secret agent tier. And if you don't do this, you will be arrested as well. It's a higher level of the triangle, and it's a higher level of consciousness. And even if you don't have 50K, I'll just take whatever. But I've never even been able to talk about this until now. Okay, it's an ultra top secret tier. Leave the stream open. Do not close the stream while you take it out. The goon tier. I haven't been able to talk about it yet. It's ultra top secret. It's completely. This is the first time I've ever been able to mention it. My father was a gooner and an edger. One night, he goons crazier than usual. Okay. He opens up a fifth monitor of pornography. Mommy doesn't like that. Not one bit. So he continues edging, laughing while he does it. You can have 5 monitors of pornography. I mean, if you can have as many monitors as you can afford. You can fill them with pornography if you want to. I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do. I think I remember that story from Obama's book. Yes. Hello, Mark. How's it going? I really should have included the Hans Zimmer soundtrack behind all of that, actually. My father's father was a gooner, and his dad was a gooner. I come from a long line of gooners. Goonin's in my blood. We're a family goonin' business. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I gotta get going. There's still, if there's still 14 subs to go, though. If anyone wants to support this program and subscribe to this show, please do so. You do actually benefit from this. Like, all joking aside, all kidding aside, You do actually benefit. Many people can attest to the fact that their lives have improved from being part of this community. Are there any brave financial advisors out there that want to give 14 subs? Exactly. It's like it's a huge discount. You know, you don't have to put 50K in an SUV. It's literally just 14 subs.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Mark, thank you very much for the 3 subs. I appreciate it. Don't think about it too much. We don't have the time. Man, that was fun. I'm glad you all got so much enjoyment out of that article. It's pretty fantastic stuff.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Risk Inverse. Thanks for the 3 gifted subs. And I already mentioned, but thank you again, Risk Inverse, for the tip yesterday, which allowed me to get Helldivers 2, which is so fucking fun. I really enjoyed playing that last night. I'm looking forward to playing it again.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sub mode activated.
Franz, thanks for 22 months tier 1. I appreciate it, Franz. Thank you for that. Pretty close. 7 subs away. Really only 2 or even only 1 person. 1 brave and generous hero. Could be the one to get across the finish line for today. Sean's doubting you. Sean's doubting you out there.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob
Rylan, that
to
does
talk
count.
you through all this.
Of course that counts. Thank you, Rylan, for the prime. I really appreciate that, Rylan. Thank you. Only 6 subs to go. Unbelievable. What am I doing here then? What am I doing here then? What am I bloody well doing here then? Can I get a quick comment on this? Dr. Awesome, was great playing with you last night too. Oh shit. Oh no. You got breaking news here.
Freedom's greetings. I'm your host, Coretta Kelly, with breaking news. The automatons have just launched surprise invasions of multiple developed worlds. In response, the Helldivers have been partially redirected from Operation Valiant Enclosure to defend against the VOD incursion. That's Liberty's latest. I'm Coretta Kelly.
This is very concerning. Our freedom and democracy is at stake. We got to do something about this. Freedom's greetings is good. Operation Valiant Enclosure. They really nailed all those little kind of tonal moments in that. Thanks again for tuning in today, folks. I appreciate it. This was fun. I don't know. I was feeling pretty bad. I laughed a lot and really enjoyed this one. So you're welcome for all the financial advice that I've given you today. Don't give someone $50,000 in a shoebox. That's the main thing you should take away. Did we already raid? Am I just talking to no one right now? Am I just sitting here talking to no one? I think I am. Hildy Beast gave you a shout out, so no one's here. And now I'm here left talking to myself. And that's Chaos Theory.